Alrighty, artists. So we have a fun tutorial here learning how to actually add photographs inside your text on Photoshop. So I am going to actually create something similar to the example that I have right here on this page. The first thing you're going to want to do is actually choose a quote that you would like to include in your own artwork. It does not have to be the same quote as mine. So here you see the mountains are calling, I must go. At this point, you need to choose what is the main word that you would like to add a photograph behind inside the text. So for this one, I chose mountains because that's the most important word essentially. And then here, I added a photograph behind art. So step one, choose your quote. Step two, which important word will you add an actual image inside? Okay, so you'll have to have that image picked out and saved to your files before you even get rolling with this project. So again, very awesome tutorial here, one really fun project. So we are simply going to open our Photoshop application and click File New. What we are going to do is title this one Image in Text by Mrs. Stolke. You can put your name in there. If it's on pixels, change it to inches, and then we can do a square that is 8 by 8 for the width and height. Resolution, you can leave at 200. Color mode, leave at RGB. Your background is totally fine just being white. And then at this point, we can click Create so that we have our blank canvas. So first thing that we're going to do is start right away with that main word that you would like to include the photo inside. So what we are going to do is go over to our toolbar. We are going to click the text tool, which is the big letter T. We are going to type in that main word first. So mine is the word art. Now, because this is the main word, I want it to be bold. I want it to be bigger so that I can actually fit that image inside. So I am going to choose a font that's bold. I already have it on Impact, which is a great font for this project because it's big and bold, right? So at this point at the top, I am then going to choose the size. I think I can get away with 200 point here because my word is so small, the word art. If you have a longer word, you might have to stick with, 150 or something like that. I might even be able to get away with something bigger, but we can stick with this for now. If I'm good with that, we don't really have to worry about the color because we're adding a picture inside this anyway. So I will click the little checkbox up here once I'm all set with that. At this point, I just need to decide where on this piece do I want the word art. I kind of want it in the center on the top, so I'm going to go to my move tool and then move this to center it. So once it's centered, that little pink line in the middle will pop up. I'm so close. There it is. Perfect. And then at this point, you're ready to add your image right away. And it's kind of surprising just how easy it is to create a clipping mask and insert that image inside your text here. So now we need to go to File, Place Embedded, and get our image that we are putting behind this text. So I want this fun art piece to put in there. So I am going to double click that. That should drop right in my document. And at this point, right away, change the size if you would like. And you need to make sure that your image is over the top of your text. Okay, so I can actually make this smaller and make sure it's covering up the word art, because this is what will pop up inside our text. So we don't want it kind of hanging off right now. Now at this point, I'm good with that. I am going to, again, click the little check mark up here. And surprisingly simple, all we're going to do is go over to the new layer where the picture is. And we are going to right-click that and click Create Clipping Mask. So again, over in your layer panel, right-click, create clipping mask, and voila, we have our picture that is now behind our text. How cool is that? So at this point, you can use your move tool to move it around if you like. You want to kind of change where that photo is behind your text. So that's perfect for me. I'm liking how that looks. Now we are ready to move on with just a little fun thing you can do with your text. We are going to talk about the outline and then a little drop shadow beneath your text. So over in my layer area here, I am going to go to my text layer. You'll see the big T there. I am going to double click the text, and we are going to go on your left hand side here to stroke. So I'm going to check that box, click stroke, the big rectangle, and then we can actually choose the color of outline we'd like to play around with. So I'm going to play around with blue. You can always change the color again using this little scale. So I'm clicking blue. When I like my color, I'll click OK. And then here we can change the size with this little arrow that you can drag across here. So I can create an outline if I would like. I'm not crazy about the outline on this one. I think I might leave it without. But you can experiment with that a little bit and see if it looks good with your personal artwork. I'm going to leave it without one. And then if you want to even change the opacity, make it a little more transparent, you can play with the opacity as well. So you can make it lighter, darker, depending on what you like. So again, I'm going to leave it because I don't really like it as much with mine. I might just unclick that since I don't want it. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, if we go over to the left, is the drop shadow tool, which is super fun. It creates a little shadow behind your letters. I want to make sure that box is checked and that I'm in the drop shadow section. Here I can choose the color of my shadow. So I could make black shadow if I wanted to. It looks kind of cool, but I thought the yellow looked pretty rocking behind my letters. So I'm going to leave it at yellow. Click OK. I can change again the opacity of that, how transparent it is. I kind of like it just at 100%. I can also, using this circle where it says angle, I can choose the angle from which it leaves the text. So I can have it angling upwards, downwards, left, right, kind of cool. So depending on what you like, that looks pretty cool. I'll leave it at that. You can mess around with the distance of the shadow from the letters. You can use that arrow here, and then you can mess with the spread a little bit and the size. So you can make it big with more of kind of a feathered edge, or you can leave it with kind of a bold edge, a smaller size. So I like that. Once you like those selections, you'll just have to make sure the little boxes are clicked over here. So if you want to drop shadow, click that box. If you want the stroke, make sure you have that box clicked. Don't want the stroke, so I'll leave it unchecked. Click OK once you're done. Those are the two tools I wanted you to experiment with. So I'm clicking OK. I'm good with that. At this point, we're moving on to our background where we will play with gradient layers. So a gradient is a transition from one color to another or multiple colors, a smooth transition. So let's show you how to do that. If we go to our white background down here in the layer panel, you'll see it's locked right now. It's not a layer, so I can't really edit it much. If I want to experiment with the background, I'm going to double click because I want those options to show up. It will ask you to create a new layer in order to edit it. So you can call this layer background if you want, right? Click OK, and it should bring you then, once you double click it, now I can edit this, and it's unlocked. I can double click it, and then all my options pop up just like it did for my text. So we are going to go straight down to gradient overlay. And you'll see I was kind of already messing around with the gradient overlay here. I can choose whatever colors I would like for this. So again, you can play with the opacity, how light or dark, transparent it is, which is pretty cool. You can also, like I said, change the color. So if you go to gradient and you see this color, click the arrow button and it'll bring you to a drop-down menu of all these different gradients in different colors. So usually what it'll look like when you click it is just like this. You'll see a list. You have to click the arrow next to the folder to see what is inside. You can individually kind of test all of these out. You can drag this around if it's right on top of your artwork and you don't want it to be. And you can play around with any of these colors. There's some pretty cool options in here. Even if we shuffle all the way to the bottom, there's like iridescent, almost like rainbow fun patterns in here, pastels, really light colors, neutrals, and then of course there's each individual color, your grayscale, your greens. So play around with that, see which gradient you like. I am going to stick with the one I had, and the cool thing about this too is you can change the style gradients. So you can do linear, straight up and down your page. You can do radial if you go to the little drop down arrow. Radial comes out from the center. You can do angled all the way around the page, reflected, reflected from the center point, and then diamond. So there's some pretty cool options in there. I kind of like radial, so it emphasizes my word in the middle. And once I'm good with that, I can change the scale too if I'd like. Kind of liked where it was, so I'm going to leave mine right in the middle. After I'm done, I can click OK, and now my background has changed. At this point, you are just adding the rest of your words of your quote in there. So my quote is, "The earth without art is just eh." So now I just need to add in the rest of my quote. At this point, I am going to actually go to my layer panel, and I am going to create a new layer. And this is where I'll add my new text. So again, going over to your toolbar, adding that text, and then I need to change this so it's not so big. I'm going to go to about 30. Let's try that. And again, I'm adding just the rest of my quote. I want something that contrasts from the colorful background, so I am going to do this text in black. So the earth without, and then of course art is next, so I'm going to move that text so it looks nice. Let's line it right up with the left side of the A here. You'll see that pink line pops up when it's aligned with the side of any previous text. So now I have the earth without art, and I just have to add my bottom part is just F. So if I want to duplicate this so I have the same font size and the same font, I can go over to my layer panel and right click it, and I can duplicate that layer and make a copy of it, and then I can move it so I have that same exact font and just retype the rest of it. So the earth without art is just, and then I'm going to do A really big. My dots are a little close together, so I'm going to space those out a little bit. Okay, I'm liking how that looks. And let's see, I can click my little checkbox up here once I like it. And what could be fun is do one last thing here. I'm going to create another new layer to do my last word, and then I'm going to put really big, because I kind of like how that looks, in white, because I want that to pop out. Because truly the earth without art is really just Am I right? So let's change the color of that to white. It's a little too bright for my liking. That looks good. Click OK. And then what I think would be fun is the actual word without art. If I highlight that and make that white, just in there, that could be fun too. How cool is that? Love it. Click the checkbox, and once you're good with it, the earth without art is just you have now your artwork, and I can save this. I can click File, Save As, save onto my computer. I am going to save it as a Photoshop document if I want to keep working on it, okay? But if you are done with it and turning it in, Save As type needs to be changed to a JPEG, the first JPEG option here. And then I can call it Image in Text, put your name on there. Then I can save it when I am done as a JPEG and submit that on Schoology. So have fun with this project. honestly, it's one of my favorites because students can have so much fun and personalize.